Close your eyes, traveler of time, and let the sand of the ages drift across your thoughts. Long before the hum of wires filled our nights, before neon lights, before cities that never sleep, there was silence. A silence so deep that it carried the heartbeat of the earth, and somewhere beneath that silence, a spark was waiting, hidden inside a clay jar. This is the story of that spark, the story of the Baghdad Battery. Krishi, part 1, The Whisper Beneath the Sand. The year was not written in books, for books themselves were still learning to be born. But the land between the rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, was already old when the rest of the world was young. Here, in the cradle of civilization, men and women built temples to gods who spoke through thunder and carved stories of stars on tablets of clay. The air smelled of baked earth and myrrh. The horizon shimmered in golden heat, and beneath the layers of dust, the ancients were shaping things that still defy understanding. Among their forgotten crafts, buried for 2 millennia, slept a small clay vessel, sealed, silent, patient. It would take nearly 2,000 years for human hands to touch it again. Part 2, The Discovery, Baghdad, 1938. The sun was sharp as a blade cutting through desert haze. In the basement of the National Museum of Iraq, a German archaeologist named Wilhelm König was sorting through boxes of ancient pottery. He brushed dust from a small, unremarkable jar, about 15 centimeters tall, rough and grayish yellow. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than a storage pot, but when he tilted it under the light, something metallic glimmered within. Inside the jar was a corroded copper cylinder, and inside that, an iron rod, both sealed at the top with bitumen, the same material used in the walls of Babylon. König paused, his breath slowed. It couldn't be, and yet, the shape, the materials, they matched something he knew well from modern science. A battery, a device that could produce electricity, 2,000 years before Volta's copper plates, before Faraday, before Edison. He tested it. A faint charge passed through the wire, barely measurable but real. In that quiet basement, with the desert heat pressing on the windows, human history shivered, as if time itself had been briefly rewired. Part 3, The Parthians, Merchants of Light. The jar was traced back to around 200 BCE, the time of the Parthian Empire. They were a people of traders and thinkers who ruled from the shadows of Persia and bridged the worlds of East and West. Their cities hummed with caravans, their temples glowed with gold leaf and incense, and their scholars studied the stars like living scriptures. They believed the universe was built from 2 forces, light and darkness, both eternal, both divine. In such a world, a jar that could hold invisible power would not be an experiment. It would be a revelation. Imagine a Parthian priest, his hands steady in practice, placing copper into clay, wrapping the iron rod with care. He does not call it electricity. He calls it the breath of Ahura Mazda, the living light of creation. Namar. Part 4, the Temple of Sparks. The night is warm. The temple walls flicker with oil lamps. A quiet hum fills the air, the sound of whispered chants. The priest lowers a golden idol into a basin. Beside him, his apprentice opens the jar. Inside is a mix of vinegar and fruit acid. A sour scent fills the room. He dips a copper wire into the liquid, touches it to the idol, and the metal shivers, gleaming for a moment brighter. Gold electroplating, a technology rediscovered only in the 19th century. And yet here, in 200 BCE, it hums quietly beneath the chanting of prayers. The gods are pleased, or perhaps they are curious. To the men who built this device, there was no difference between science and faith. Light was divine, and divinity was electric. Part 5. Forgotten sparks around the world. Centuries later, the Greeks would discover static electricity. By rubbing amber and W,